Okay, this is like one of my first attempts of doing this live thing, and in doing live, there's a lot of controversy when it comes to how we think. And the reason why I say controversy is because it seems though most people want to be individuals, but yet we don't want other people to have an individual or a singular mindset. We think, or we tend to think, that if a person is not thinking the way we think, they're wrong. And it's my view, and I'm gonna speak I statements, is that however you think, as long as it doesn't harm or hurt or disrespect someone else, you have the right to think it. Because we all are individuals in a collective society. And being that we are individuals in a collective society, you have the right to voice your opinions in a way that is respectful. That's like I say, that's those are I statements. It seems like in this day and time, us as people, we've gotten away from the things that truly matter, and we're worrying about the things that don't matter. And I say this is because we put more value in things that have no power to save, no hearts to sympathize, and no ears to hear. And we do this thinking that those things are going to take away whatever may be bothering us, afflicting us, and all those things. We see a lot of negativity in the news, and you have to understand the news is made up of the people, and the people's plights are what makes the news. But we saying negative news, and like where I live, they have this thing where they call toe tagging and whatever and all that. To me, it doesn't make any sense, and the reason why it doesn't make any sense is that toe tagging is, from what I've learned, when you have a tag on your toes, mean you're deceased. So anything that has a negative connotation that doesn't have a positive meaning doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm just speaking of I statements. A man be as a person, well, as a man thinketh, so shall a man be. As a man continue to think, so shall he remains. And I asked him why he made this statement to me and gave me this metaphor, or however he was like, well, however you think, that's what manifests into your life. And if you continue to think a certain way, certain things are going to continue to manifest in your life. He was basically telling me, as I learned through time, is that life is about perspective, and however we see life, that's how we're gonna manifest. That's how life is going to manifest within our current situations. And I say this, and I say this on this live because we opinions on things, and we say the right and wrong things, and we saying the right and wrong things to a simple fact of wherever you desire to be in life, if you're not actually moving towards those things, you're like a block of wood, like a stop sign. It says something, but it doesn't do anything. And that, to me, is like one of the worst things a person can be, is a block of wood. So in this conversation with my friend, I was explaining to him that perspective is what we build ourselves from. Because if you see certain things, 9 times out of 10, you're going to achieve them, not be they good, bad, or indifferent. And in this days and time, it's like that we're being led by the things that we've created. And I say that is because we'll put more emphasis to get things that have no power to save, no heart to sympathize, and no ear to hear. Cars, clothes, jewelry, smartphones, computers, all these type of things. But yet at the end of the day, these are just trinkets. These are not things that you measure your life by. You measure your life by things. I'm speaking of I statements. This is how I see it. By what we see and do for others, those within our families. If you are a parent and you have children, if you are not teaching your children the lessons that you've learned, you're not really achieving anything. I don't care if you got $1 million, uh, boats, cars. If you're not teaching your kids anything, and your kids are just growing up willy nilly, that which you've created as far as material wealth will be like they say, the fool and his money will soon depart. And that's just one of the things that we see, that when you give somebody something they never work hard for, they run through it because they don't understand the lessons of it and what the hard work that it took to get there. And again, that is perspective. So when we start speaking about life, life is about learning, life is about these things that truly matter. Because man made money, money don't make man. Man created the commerce system didn't create man. So why are we as men or human beings worshiping the things that we've created? I'll take you back to another thing that one of my quote unquote mentors told me. He says that's because man is lost and turned out by a diabolical scheme of his own making. And I tend to agree with him because if you run a check on a lot of things that we do, a lot of it's just frivolous. I'm not saying that we can't have fun, we can't have enjoyment, but there's a time and a place for all this. In this day and age, we've become barbaric in our thinking, and if you want to call it, we want to call slaves to everything else because things control us and we no longer control them. And that thing with that, which is that is one of the things which is crazy to me. And I had to say that I had to go live just to speak on these things. There's a multitude of things that I have a view of. I'm saying I statement because things that I see. It doesn't make it so necessarily correct for someone else, but it's correct for me because that's how I see it. And like I said before, as long as what my your opinion is doesn't go against the right and wrong of life, have it. But in this day and age, a lot of our opinions do go against the right and wrong of things because they're harmful and hurtful to the society that we've created. And if that's the case, then we need to run a check on what we are doing. And the thing one thing I have to understand, I've come to understand is that family, friends, community is first and foremost. Because without the bond of family, friends, community, you can't truly enjoy the things that you have. And I say that because I live in a neighborhood that, like the majority of us, we really don't know our neighbors. We don't say hi. I was in the grocery store the other day, and I'm saying this because all this is about perspective, how we see things. And I said hello to an older lady, and she looked at me like it was like I was foreign. And the first thing she said to me, "Oh, you know me from somewhere?" No. Do I have to know you say, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning"? But we've gotten so far away from these things that the normal have become abnormal, and abnormal has become normal. So we've taken the things that were used that were put in place as far as cordial, being nice, being friendly, being courteous, and knock those aside and to become to the point where we're almost barbaric in our thinking and our dealings. And how do I tie all that in? Because all that's about perspective. However you see things, that's how things are going to be. Because we've taken those abnormal things to be normal, so that's the way things are. And the first thing somebody said, "Oh, things have changed." No, they've changed. You've forgotten. They haven't changed. You've just forgotten. We've forgotten the lessons that were once taught to us. And then once those lessons were taught to us, we were supposed to teach those to the ones coming behind us. But why aren't we doing this? Now, this is another thing I want to speak on briefly: relationships. We think for some reason that when we get in a relationship, that relationship is going to make us happy. I'm here to tell you, relationships don't make you happy. You make relationships happy because it's a collective thing. It's two people. That means I'm going to learn a little bit something about you, and you're going to learn a little something about me, and then we're going to come together. And then I'm going to enhance the happiness that's within you, and hopefully you enhance the happiness within me. Another person can't make you happy. And that's the one thing that we think because that newness of a relationship is like a new car. You get, oh wow, I'm happy, this and that. And then when the newness wears off and stuff, and then the real work begins. But you don't want the real work. You just want that new feeling, that new car smell, that 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 butterfly feeling, all that. No, 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 no. It gets greater. You don't want that. Well, we don't seek that coming home to a familiar surrounding, to a familiar body, to a familiar mindset, to someone that's going to at ease or put at ease all the things you've been going through your work day or whenever, however. These are the real aspects of relationship, and those things take work. And we find ourselves, a lot of people, a lot of you independent men and women that You think that you can do it by yourself, but you're not in a society by yourself. God or the creator or however you see it didn't place you here by yourself. He didn't place you here to spend the life that you have by yourself. He put this procreate or at least relate to other people. So being independent is cool to a degree, but it's not something that we build a foundation off of. Because as the song says, gigolos get lonely too. And the gigolo ain't just a female, it's a female as well. So I say that, and I'm not being funny, but I'm trying to be like somewhat humorous of the situation, because we take life too seriously. And I say that because a lot of time we don't know how to laugh, we don't know how to smile, we don't know how to take it easy. We're either posting something negative, posting something that it give you a laugh, but it gives you a laugh in a negative way. It doesn't give you a laugh in a fun way. And life is not about that. Life is meant to be enjoyed. And yeah, there's going to be struggles because we struggled from that first breath. But that doesn't mean that life has to be a struggle where you got your head down. You can dance in the rain. You can make lemonade out of the lemons. But you have to have the perspective to do so. Me, myself, personally, I'm not perfect. Nor am I striving to be perfect. I try to correct a lot of my faults. But in life in itself, I feel as though my mission is to help those around me to do better. Because I know I'm going to be okay because I've learned myself and I'm still learning myself. And it's going to take me my lifetime to perfect who I am. And I know I'm not perfect. So in that understanding of myself, I understand other people. Because a lot of things that I do, I see in other people. So I don't hold you accountable for it. I may not like your actions, but I still love the person. And that's the difference. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be willfully ignorant or accepting of negative things. That just means that I understand. So in my understanding doesn't make me weak. In my understanding, it makes me more strong to be able to bear your burden when you can't. And then when I can, when I can't, I'll let you know. Because by me being a part of society, I understand that aspect of it. And as you see, I'm always saying what I understand, because comprehension is something that's very important in living in these days and times. It doesn't make you weak to say I'm sorry. It doesn't make you weak to care about a person. These things don't make you weak. What makes you weak when you think you got to be hard when you know that that's not the case? Because at the end of the day, when all said and done, the one person you got to live with yourself, and the one person you got to be real with, it's yourself. And we tend to forget that. We tend to forget that because we're looking outside ourselves for things that you got to find within yourself first. And all this, like I said, it all ties into perspective, because it's how we see things. And a lot of times we are taught to see things wrong by those that are willfully ignorant of a lot of things. And ignorance doesn't mean that you're stupid. It just means that you're unaware. But yet a lot of us don't know that part of it because we haven't studied the simple thing of language. Because we are Americans and we speak English. The majority of us, some of us speak a third language, Creole, Spanish, French, different languages, and that all that stuff, but all about perspective. And the majority of us should know the language or understand the language that we speak and the meanings thereof. It's about comprehension. It's about perspective. And like I say, I'm live because it's a lot of things that are on my heart that I will speak of, and it may seem like I'm rambling a little bit because like I say, it's a lot of things on my heart. And in this day and time, we don't understand how blessed we are to see each day. Because I always tell people this, and I mean this from the heart, and I mean this to the heart. Every day that you wake up, God has blessed you. And it's on you to make the best of that in which that blessing He gives you. Because He gave you the whole world. He gave you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be sought. But you have to be the one to seek it. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. And there's a saying that A wise person starts at one point and move forward, and the fool is always beginning. And we have to try to be that wise person. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to. That doesn't mean that you're going to not fall down. But the thing about it, do you have the strength to get back up, brush your knees off, and keep it moving? Because on this plane of things made manifest, there will be a lot of temptation. There will be a lot of trials, tribulations. But you have to be able to understand that as long as you have a will, there's a way. That doesn't mean that way is going to be easy. But then the lesson tells us this: a soldier never knows his strength until he meets his foe. And when you meet your foe, that's when you'll know your strength. That's when you'll know your weaknesses. That's when you'll know what you overcome. And this is one thing that I do. It's a cycle. I call it my cycle of life. Each birthday, I look back that previous year and see the things that I've accomplished, and I look for the things that I've excised from my life, and I see the things. And when I see them, I see these things because I sit down and I meditate and I consciously am real with myself with it as what I need to change on, what I need to do, and that forth. So each year of my life, I'm trying to grow and be a better person. I know I may never be perfect because that's like damn near impossible. But I strive not for perfection, but to better myself. And so therefore, any lessons that I learn, I'm not going to repeat the bad ones, and I can teach the good ones to somebody. And even in some of the bad lessons, I've learned certain things that I can teach. Because there will be a generation after me, God willing, because I do believe in God. I may not be one of those people, but what I call one of the people that just put it forward on. But at the same time, I do believe there's going to be a generation after me, and those that come behind me, I want them to stand on my shoulders and reach farther than I did. But the only way I'm going to be able to do this is to learn the lessons that I've learned and to teach those lessons to those that come behind me, and to understand that as life grows, we grow, and as we grow, everything moves forward. But we have to do this consciously. And for those that may be going through things, you may have like trials and tribulation. Understand, as long as you have a will, there's a way. As long as you believe in yourself first, because right now is not the first time you've been through something, and it may not be the last. We pray that it is, but it may not be the last. But understand, there's a strength within you that'll push you forward, but only you can tap into it. Take time, believe in who you are. Never allow somebody or someone else to dictate to who you are, what you cannot do. Because if we look at all what we define as successful people in this world, they started from somewhere. And the road for them wasn't easy. It was rough. We may not know their full story, but if we run a check, we can see, okay, yeah, it was a little, and that's how life is. Life's gonna have its bumps, it's gonna have its bruises, it's gonna have its good time, and it's gonna have its bad times. Celebrate the good times. Praise God for the bad times, because through a lot of the bad times, we learn valuable lessons. But those are for the people that have eyes to hear, eyes to see, and ears to hear. You have to see these things. Don't close your heart. Don't close your mind. I don't care how rough it get. I done been there where, I done slept in a house where there's no lights, there ain't number water, ain't nobody home. I done all those things, man. But yet here I am today living, praising God, thanking him for all the things that I've been through, good and bad, and moving forward and not holding on to anything that was negative. That's one of the most important things. Do not, I promise you, if you do not hold on to any of that negative stuff, you'll see the sun shine a lot brighter. Because whatever has happened has happened. You can't change that. Whatever's gonna be is gonna be. But understand this: you manifest your reality, you can manifest your destiny. But if you don't put that first foot forward, you ain't gonna walk into your destiny. And then your reality will be something that you don't want. So you have to be strong. And I mean, you have to be strong because there's only one person can do this for you is you. Because every day God allows you to wake up, He gives you that chance. He gives you that blessing. Hey, listen, put that foot forward. It's gonna rain sometimes. It's gonna be hell. It's gonna be sleet. It's gonna be rough. And I'm not saying it's going to be rough. I'm saying it's gonna be rough because I'm from the South. But at the same time, you have to believe in who you are. And the reason why I can say this, and I say this from the heart, I believe in you because I believe in myself. And I done been there. I done been down to the lowest of the lowest, and I'm trying to get to the highest of the highest, but not for myself. I ain't never did something for myself. Because as the old saying, I'm gonna say this, and it ain't no fun if the homeless can't have none. It ain't. That means I got $1 million, I get $1 million, I'm not gonna share it with somebody. That means I'm not gonna be a fool, but I'm gonna help somebody. And while I'm on the subject, let's speak on this thing about helping. Every day I see homeless people. You know, in the job that I have, I come into contact with them. And some of them are some of my closest associates. I speak to them every day like I would speak to somebody in my family. Because you know why? You never know who you're talking to. You never know who these people are and what a person is going through. And just because I have somewhere to lay my head and he don't, that don't make me better than him. Because I don't know what he done been through and what done happened to him. What caused him to be. And just like I have a roof over my head and he doesn't, the situation's gonna be reversed. That's called life. But yet we want someone to care for us, to care about us, but we don't want to care about those around us. I'm not saying be a damn fool, but I'm saying being cordial, speaking to people. I've seen people walk past these people and look down at them like something wrong with them. Just may be. But you speaking to them may help them out of a ditch. And when I'm talking about a ditch, I'm talking about a mental ditch. You showing that love and that concern don't cost you nothing. Don't cost me nothing. And truth be told, I speak to him before I speak to you because you don't need it and he do. I know he need it because he by himself. Because that's how our society is. We don't applaud those that's doing well. Those that's not doing too good, we look down on. But what would you do if it was you? How would you want somebody to feel? We don't even like it. We don't even like it when people talk bad about us. But yet here is a person that's homeless, you can't even speak to him. I'm gonna tell you how my nephew say, where they do that at. But in the same sentence, those that us believe in God, we'll say that we believe in God. But remember what Jesus did, who he went and sat with. Think about it. I do. Like I said, I ain't perfect by no means, but I understand. And I'm not gonna forget. I've been down there. Not as far as that, but I done been down there. I understand what it means. I understand what it means to have somebody turn their back on you. Tell you that they love you, but they really don't love you. Actions don't speak like their words do. Forget about you. You living, but you're dying at the same time because you like the walking dead. Doesn't make any sense. How can we be like that? But yet we say we believe that we got love in our hearts, or do we really love us? Or do we love unconditionally? Do we understand what unconditional love is? That's the thing I want to know. That's the thing I want to see in my lifetime. Will that ever happen? We live in a world, beautiful. Regardless of what's going on, it's beautiful. We have all that we need. God has blessed us. Even though we want more, God has blessed you. But a lot of us don't see the blessings because we're too busy wanting something that doesn't apply to us. That doesn't mean be content with your lot in life. That means be grateful for what you have. Even though you strive to want more, be grateful for what you have. Understand where you came from. Always look to where you're going. That is the key for me. And like I said, when things I'm saying to you, I'm speaking I statements. I'm not speaking the right and wrong. I'm telling you the things that I don't like, the things that I see. Because if you tell me one thing and do another, I'm not gonna hate you. I'm just gonna dislike your ways. Because at the end of the day, you ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. But one thing I'm gonna be, if I tell you that I'm for you, I'm for you. That's for real. That's the difference in between being real and being fake with yourself, not other people. Because you can't please everybody. Because there's gonna be a lot of people that may not like what I'm saying, and there might be a lot of people that like what I'm saying. To me, hey, I take it with a grain of salt. Because it's life. The lesson says the hero is the most renowned of the human characters. 1 minute the public with him, the next minute the public against him. If the lessons tell me that, and the lesson was here before me and it was taught to me, I got to believe it. Life and society dictate that. And that's the one thing I go back and I'm keeping it on the same frame. It's about perspective, how you see it. If I worried about that, then I'd be a different person. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about making sure those around me are happy, making sure that those around me are safe, and making sure that when I do leave this earth, I can look back and say, okay, I accomplished something. I left my mark in a positive way, regardless if somebody like it or not. Because the God that I believe in tells me so, that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I believe in it. Because my belief is lost in my faith. My faith is lost in my fruition. That's what the lessons tell me. It always has. And every time I run a check on myself, if I'm not doing something I'm supposed to be doing, I slow down and sit back and as they say, I recalculate my GPS and make sure that I'm going headed in the right direction. Because sometimes my GPS might send me on the wrong direction. So every now and then I got to reboot and recalculate my GPS and make sure I'm going the right way. And that road ain't always easy. Because a lot of times that's road less traveled. But I don't like going on the Howard Franklin at 4 o'clock. I don't. At 4 o'clock, there's traffic jam. So I might have to take the Gandhi or the Courtney Campbell Causeway. Just may have to. That's what my GPS tell me, but I'm gonna make sure that it's telling me the right direction. Whereas there's no hindrance and there's no blockage. But I'll get back to this, and I'm gonna say this too because I know there's a lot of us out there suffering mentally and emotionally. Is that it's gonna get better, man. All you have to do is understand it's gonna get better. There's a point in my life that a lot of people counted me out. Counted me out until my gone. Okay, that's just a wrap. That's final. But then now, see, I understand your thought ain't greater than my God. My God is probably greater than your thought. And as long as I believed in Him first and believed that He put me here and that only He has a last say so, I'll survive. Many nights where, I've cried because, we men, we do cry in the dark. We ain't gonna cry in the light. We gonna cry in the dark. Many nights where I felt I was lonely. I felt all these emotions. Felt the bone abandoned, betrayed, all these things. I felt them. But at the end of the day, I believe that as long as I continue down the path that I was going, God will make a way for me. But I had to believe and never gave up on myself. Because if you don't believe in yourself first, nobody else will. Understand that. You have to believe in who you are. That's a must. I ask you this, I pray for this, that you believe in who you are. For you single mothers that's doing it by yourself, hey man, I applaud you. And I applaud you because hey man, I understand how it is. I'm a son of a single mother. Knew who my father was, but he wasn't my dad. My mom did it by herself. A lot of the principles, understanding, toughness, I gained that from a woman. First and foremost. My knowledge, understanding about God from a baby. I ain't saying from no scholar's point of view or no adult point of view, but understanding who he was, I learned that from my mom. Because she wouldn't have no other way. So you single mother, I understand where y'all are. And understand this, y'all are young mothers. Your kids are not your friends. They're your child, they're your children. They're not your friends. Don't treat them like your friends. Understand there's a barrier there. Keep that barrier there. Do not break that bond. Do not break that barrier. Because no matter how close me and my mama was, and we done been through some situations, I never crossed that line because of mama. And the reason why I didn't cross that line because my mama made sure that I understood that she was mama. And that same lesson that y'all mother taught y'all, don't get away from that. Because I've heard a few of y'all say, "Oh, I ain't gonna do that to my kids." But look at how it brought you. You might have been through some situations. You might have went through some things. But in the end, that seed that she planted, it done matured into a flower now, to an adult. That's the same way it is with kids. They ain't gonna learn the lesson overnight. But you got to plant that seed. Don't be afraid to plant that seed. The soil fertile. The soil is always fertile from day one. From generations 400, 500, how many years your people been around in existence, it's been there. But you have to plant that seed. Don't worry about no dude. I'm a man. Don't worry about no dude because any man that's really for you gonna put your kid first. Because if he don't put your kid first, not your children, your kid. I'm saying this from my point of view. He don't put your kid first, something wrong. He has to want better for them than he want for you. Because he gonna love your kids like he love you first, and he gonna accept that. And he gonna always tell you what's right for you and them because it comes from his heart. And if that ain't the case, then there's something wrong. Because a lot of time we don't want to hear the truth or accept the truth. Because nobody's perfect. But the moment you stop listening and hearing and understanding and learning is the moment you stop growing. That's when you're gonna start seeing all the things that you really, really don't want to see. First and foremost. And you may not like to hear it, but it is what it is. If you're not totally committed with a dude or a male, stop bringing them around your kids, man. Beat that joker somewhere else. Don't bring around your kids. Cause especially if you got a little girl, because she gonna grow up thinking that was cool. She may not tell you that, but subconsciously she gonna run through dudes how you run through them other dudes. And then your son see this, he gonna start treating women the same way he see them dudes treat you. Because as kids, we see and do. We don't listen, we see and do. We see first, we do, and then we're gonna listen later. Because our minds haven't developed to the point where we're assimilating information from a verbal point of view. You never realize why you got to tell a kid 3 or 4 times to stop. Because they're listening, but they're not truly paying attention. He's a kid. His mind is a sponge, or her mind is a sponge, and she's learning everything. So she's grasping everything. So you have to be careful exactly what you put inside that jar. Because that sponge is going to soak up everything in there. And we all know water and oil don't mix. So by us knowing this is the thing that we have to teach our kids. And I say this to single mothers. Because you have more power than you think you do over us men, but y'all don't know how to utilize it because you think it's between your legs. But the majority of things that we do for y'all. A lot of us not conscious that we do. Just run a check on the guys that are around you. They ain't doing it for their homeboys. They doing it for the women in the community. I don't care where he at, how he doing it. He put on a Brooks Brothers suit, he going out. He stepping out. He put on some cologne. He ain't put on a cologne for no dudes. He put on cologne for a woman. He put on a nice pair of shoes. He put on it for a woman. Yeah, he might look fly, but I mean, you say, hey, I see you. First thing he gonna do is smile. The same thing you do when you put on clothes. But you got to understand the power that you have because a man is born from a woman out of her womb that she holds for 9 months. But you don't understand this power. And in my community, a lot of us come from broken homes. So a lot of these young men are looking for a mother figure. May think I'm wrong, but run the check. Because he ain't been taught how to be a man. He ain't taught how to clean, wash. He ain't taught, he's not, I mean, I say he, I'm not talking about he isn't. I'm saying he understand my language. I'm in the South. So understand my language. He ain't need much. Not he isn't, he isn't. He ain't need much worried about none of that stuff. That's why y'all have these posts about don't let a man lay up with you, because you ain't laying up with a man, you laying up with a boy. He hasn't been taught how to be a man. Manhood is something been taught. But we don't understand history. We think things, and I say this, all this going to tie together. I'm saying this because you're a single parent. You're looking for something, but you settle for something else. Me as a person, if I don't get what I want, I'll be by myself. Not I will be by myself, I'll be by myself. Because at the end of the day, you have to be happy. I'll compromise with you on everything, but I'll settle for nothing. My mother taught me that. Not some dude, my mama. Because all the years living, I never seen my mother with anybody other than my stepfather, which was her boyfriend. And I respected that, no matter how their situation was. So y'all as single mothers, y'all have to understand that. The game hasn't changed, time hasn't changed. It has went on, but it's the same. I went to a little league football game just last year. There's a whole bunch of mothers out there with their sons, trying to teach them how to be a man. Yeah, that can go to a certain point because your mother teach you your heart how to love as a man. That's who teach you as a man how to love, your mother. Because her love for you is unconditional. So she shows you that. Now, the discipline as a man, your father, your uncle, your older brother, the males in your community are supposed to teach you that. And when you find a male that haven't been taught these things, you're dealing with a boy. Because when you run the check, you look at the things that y'all go through, you'll see it's a boy. No slight on him. I ain't talking bad. I'm just talking about the same thing. Because this go vice versa for guys. There's a difference between being a girl and a woman. And a lot of y'all settle for girls and not women. And the reason why you settle for a girl and not a woman, because you don't want nobody that's going to tell you and call you out on your shit. You want somebody that you think can control with that false sense of power, whatever it is. Be it money, looks, gold, whatever, whatever it is that she's attracted to, that young girls are attracted to. That's why you want her. You don't want no woman because a woman gonna make you stand in the paint. Make you pay some bills. Be there at night. You know, scrub the toilet, the tub, and the rest of that stuff. Cook out on the grill, cut the yard. You know, bring home a paycheck. She don't give a damn. It's not a McDonald's job, a Mike Donald job. Bring something to the table. That's the difference. So don't think I'm just bashing dude because this goes both ways. And we have to understand and do better. Because when you recognize something and don't correct it, you that fool all the way beginning. Again, it's about perspective. And if you are with somebody and y'all trying to build a life together, understand that road is not going to be easy. I'm telling you from personal experience, it's not going to be easy. Sometimes you got to go around the elbow to get you the thumb. I was telling my fiance that earlier. You got to go around your elbow to get to your thumb. And that's one of the things that we have to understand as people. We call life a game, but this is a game where you don't get no do-overs. You don't press no button to say restart. It don't go that way. Those are metaphors and similes. That's all they are. That is not to be taken literally. So again, you single mothers, I say this to you: tighten up. Tighten up. If you got goals and dreams, pursue them. One key thing. First and foremost, you lay down and had them kids, or lay down and had that child. So for how many years you got them for, your life is on hold and their life goes before yours. Because divine law is going to judge you if you ain't doing it right. And y'all kids who disrespectful to your parents, divine law going to judge you and show you why you ain't right. When you can never meet the mark, it's because you are the mark. And as one of my homeboys from California say, you doing that old mark ass shit. And I'm just keeping it real with you. So I ain't gonna blow smoke up your butt. I ain't gonna be the most perfect person. You call me out on my BS. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it on 100. Because whatever you can help me cross is one less bridge I gotta cross. So I ain't gonna never be mad if you correct me. Now, if you doing it for some type of sake or whatever, as long as it help me, I don't give a damn. Oh, you just doing that? Okay, yeah. Okay, I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, sis. Because one thing about it, it's about perspective. It's not what you do to me, it's my response to it. That's what I've learned. And by no means am I perfect. But that's the one thing I'm gonna keep it on 100, which is that it's not what you do, it's how I respond. Because there's a lot of time I've been disrespected and I walked away. You know why? Because I know the event wasn't greater than thought, and the thought wasn't greater than the event. And it was something I could just walk away from. Because I don't wear my ego on my sleeve. Now you violate my family, I got to holler at you. Because I'm a man. And that's my people. And I got to do that. I got to protect them. Because my grandma taught me that. No, do I advocate that kind of stuff? But that's going to be the natural reaction to that. Because that's my family. And I'm here to serve and protect them. But anything outside of that, I try to walk away from. Because I got people that I look up to, people I depend on, and people that depend on me. And the ones that I look up to are the ones that are looking up at me. Because they're my responsibility. That's when I mean the people I look up to. That 8 and 9-year-old great nephew, great niece, my nephews and nieces, my sisters and brothers, my cousins, my friends. That's who I look up to because everything I do for them. Because being around them make me happy. That's just me. So when we do things, let's stop being selfish. It's about perspective. Because if I do something, me personally, I'm speaking in high statements now. If I do something for you, I do it because I want to do it. Not looking for something in return other than you doing the right thing and making sure things are right for you. Because as long as I'm doing for you and I'm making sure that you're okay, I'm all right. But like I say, I ain't no damn fool now. You ain't gonna just use me. Come on, man. Let's keep it on 100. Let's be real. But I'm gonna be there for you. because that's just my genuine nature, because that's what I was taught. I was taught on 3 different levels. I was taught by my mama, I was taught by my grandma, and then I was taught by my mentors how to be a man. And I'm still growing into that man. And it's going to take my whole life to conquer the foes that's in front of me and become that man that I'm supposed to be. It's a process. And one thing about me, I've been through enough to understand to trust the process. Because there's a rule. You either going to govern your life or you're going to find yourself in a situation where somebody else is governing you. And a lot of times you ain't going to like that. Understand where pride, ego, and the rest of that stuff is supposed to be. And a lot of times we have it in the wrong place and use it in the wrong situations. And that's the one key that keeps us in the situation that we in a lot of times negatively, is that our perception of things. Because a lot of times when we're in the situations, I'm speaking of like those heated moments or whatever. If you can walk away and 20 minutes later you really mad or madder than what you was, and you really thought about it, then you mad. Or as what's the name said, you big mad. But a lot of times we're not. We just worried about what everybody else gonna think, or how they gonna think, or how society gonna view something. Well, yet let's run the check now. You say you're an individual, but you're worried about peer pressure. Because at the end of the day, what you eat don't make me defecate. I ain't met nobody else unless they Siamese twins. So learn how to be an individual in a collective society. That's the key. And find the answers that you're looking for, but you got to seek them. And the most important, I say this to people that believe in a higher power. Stop praying for something. Stop praying for something and then doubting God's ability. Because that's like me asking you to do something for me and coming around and then doubting that you're going to do it. Why did you ask me to do it for you in the first place when you didn't feel as though I'm going to do it? That's what we do. When we pray for something, then we doubt God's ability. But you say you believe. And understand, God's watch, his time is different from yours. Because no matter what it is, God can always be on time. That's for those that believe. Because we know we got different denominations and different thoughts and different mentalities and however in life. We all entitled to it. But understand, I say that to those that actually believe, is that we have to understand that part of it. And you do have the strength to move forward. Because just how it was yesterday, it's going to get better tomorrow. But that's the whole key of it. But a lot of us don't understand. A lot of us don't believe that. And by us not believing and understanding that, that's something different. With that, I sign off.